Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Business Meets Fitness podcast with your host, Lauren Tickner. And guys, I have brought Brandon back on the podcast to talk more about cryptocurrency because so many people were so interested in it. And it is such a hot topic at the moment. And I feel like we need to talk about it a lot more. There's still so many unanswered questions, and there still will be after the end of this episode. But you can be sure that by the end of this episode, you will know a hell of a lot about cryptocurrency. Isn't that right, Brandon?
Yes, of course. This is what I do.
We thought that it would be a really nice idea if we should do a Q&A. So if you have some questions regarding cryptocurrency, then please do either tweet or Instagram, make it in one of the comments to me or Brandon. Brandon, what's your Twitter?
I believe it will be in the description. I have no idea.
That's right. His Twitter will be in the description box, and also my Instagram and my Twitter will be there too. So you can ask us questions. But if you are deciding to Instagram me, please make sure that you comment the question on a photo because that's where I'll be more likely to see it rather than DMs. So now that we have that done, I do just want to quickly say, please do make sure you share this episode if you're enjoying it. Tell a friend to listen to it who wants to learn more about cryptocurrency because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And I think Brandon and I are going to be clearing some of them up today. However, we just thought, doing the Q&A would be a really nice idea. So, Brandon, how about we just get straight into it? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Is there anything that's burning on your mind right now that you want to quickly discuss before we begin, or even to begin with?
Well, I don't know. I feel like people I listen to the episode myself, and I don't do that often.
Oh.
So I listened to it, and I don't know if I diverted the question or just didn't answer one of your questions, but when it came to the blockchain, I kind of just made it very simple, hey, this is what it is. But I guess I could kind of tell you what it is actually. So because the blockchain, I sent Lauren a book so she could understand the blockchain.
He did send me a book, and the book is phenomenal. See, I am not a massive reader myself, and that's actually going to be one of my goals for 2018. And I'm going to be trying to read a book a month. However, I really think I'm going to read this book even faster than that because it is so good and I just can't put it down. And there's so much information in there. So I know how much you really do know. It's just absolutely crazy. So talk to us, Brandon.
All right. So the blockchain, what it actually is, I'm explaining the system. So it is the ledger, and each block is a piece of the ledger. And each one stacks on each other. So if you have records or whatever, that's where it would be. It would transfer from computer to computer. So every computer holds a piece of the blockchain or a block of the blockchain, and they put them all together, and that becomes the open ledger. So that's pretty much what it is. That's the best explanation I can give. Other people have very fancy ones, and I'm like, well, how are you supposed to give this to a person who does not understand what this is? But I feel like this is the most simplest. It's just the ledger and how it works, and that each piece of it is separate, so it creates a block. And of course, there's other terms for crypto, pieces of crypto, and all that. But I don't like getting into that because that's learning about chemistry or something like that.
Yeah, the names are so confusing, right?
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So, yeah, that's pretty much what the blockchain is. For anyone that kind of diverted your question or just didn't answer it clear enough, that is how it works.
For sure. So that's the blockchain, and then obviously each different cryptocurrency, they each kind of have a different set of blockchain, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all use the blockchain technology in some way. Which is the ledger. Some of them just or some of them have different rules, like you can't mine, or they are infinite, as we spoke earlier. But
yeah.
They all have different sets of rules, and it's hard to keep up with all these coins. It's so many coins out there. Like everyone's revolutionizing the crypto space. Like every day you can read an article saying someone just revolutionized the crypto space. And I'm like, well, yeah, you might have a great idea, but like, how does that work in execution? I mean,
For sure. How does it play out?
And Bitcoin worked pretty well, but it has a lot of downfalls. Like a lot of people don't think about it like that. There's a lot of pitfalls that needs to get through, and how that's going to work. Nobody has any idea. It's an experiment. All of this is an experiment. I'm telling you, it's all an experiment. It's to see if this will happen, and if it doesn't, it's hard to say where it will go from here. It will still be a thing. It just won't be as big of a thing. And when will we switch to it? I have no idea. Maybe 10 years, maybe 15. I hear estimates of saying in 3 years. I'm like, that's a little crazy, but I don't know. I see it happening sometime in our lifetimes. It's gonna be weird. I'm like, you're gonna be having your phone and scanning it, say how many Bitcoins is that, or not even Bitcoins. It might not even be Bitcoins. You might change the name. You can rebrand anything, I believe. And what if they decide to change the name of Bitcoin to something else more kind of friendly? Because I feel like people have, Lauren coin, what? Yeah. Like what? Like people are gonna make their own coins and that stuff. And what if just not everyone wants to use a global currency like Bitcoin? What if they want to make their own currencies and have their own rules and stuff?
I think that's a really good point, though, because like I was talking to you about before we actually started filming the podcast, there's a lot of new startups who are essentially creating cryptocurrencies. So but how do you, I don't know, I mean, can you kind of talk about that a tiny bit more?
Well, yeah, I mean, startups have always been making coins and different things. The question is not if they're going to make a coin. The question is it going to compete with these other coins? I mean,
for sure.
It's like trying to compete with Amazon in the space they're in. They control 60% of the biggest consumers ever. Everyone has an Amazon account. Everyone has this. So it's easy to get involved in it with Amazon. Just like an analogy here, but same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's so big, it's so easy to get into. These other smaller coins are not on Coinbase. They're not on major. You have to go to their own sites. And do you really trust a small startup? I mean, I've seen it happen over and over again where startups, Ponzi schemes. We can talk about BitConnect, which a lot of people don't know about. This, I'm not sure if this is a scam. Like I've looked at it and it looks, it's basically like an investment tool it's called BitConnect. It's basically an investment where you can invest your money and put it, and you get anything from 0.25% to 2% per day. So you're getting a ridiculous amount of gains. The problem I have with this is like, I don't know who the founder is. I don't know anything about these people. They're not open with how this system works. I don't know how it works. Nobody does. I mean, if you do say you do not know how it works and why you're getting such great numbers. And also I have a problem with the affiliate marketing. Most of these people that advertise BitConnect, it's all affiliate marketing. I mean, they make their money from the affiliate marketing. They're making $600,000. There's one dude who makes $600,000 a year from affiliate marketing. Wow. And he only invests maybe $10,000-$15,000 a year. So to me, it's really sketchy when you do that. And it's just like a problem. So I don't know if it's a Ponzi scheme or something like that, but it's interesting. I would like to see. I mean, you could look on YouTube, just type in BitConnect scam or this and that. You'll come up with hundreds of videos or how BitConnect is the best thing ever. A lot of people invest in it, and I don't know. I stay away from stuff that I don't understand.
That's really interesting. I mean, it's like people are setting up cryptocurrency funds, but obviously, if it's a proper, safe and secure fund, that's a little bit, very different. But this is really, I'm on the website now and I'm just looking at it, and I don't really understand what it is, if I'm honest, as I look on the website. So it looks a bit gimmicky to me, but who knows? It might be incredible.
Yeah, so it's incredible. I've seen, I know a lot of people that have made massive amounts of gains in money, but it just doesn't. I don't know what it is. How can you even in a down market? I don't see, like most people. I don't see a negative number. Like I'm like, okay, so you've never lost money, like that. That just makes me very suspicious when I see that. I don't know how the technology works. I don't know who gets what like I kind of do, but I kind of don't. So, and
it's not very clear, you guess. Like,
I mean, yeah, I don't know who's developing this. Like, there's no line of inquiry for this stuff.
I mean, they have questions on their FAQ and they don't even capitalize the I when they're trying to say I as in I am. So, I mean, that looks a bit sketchy to me.
I don't know, but people do make money from it. And like, how long will this if it is a Ponzi scheme, how long will it last before someone figures out, or maybe it is the most incredible technology I've ever seen.
Well, so interesting. I'm going to look into that after we're finished talking on the podcast, but that kind of brings us nicely onto the topic of insurance, because a lot of people are concerned that what they're saying is that there's no insurance on any cryptocurrency. So, well, I mean, as far as I know, on Coinbase, it says that there's an insurance on Coinbase. However, I personally don't feel too safe with that, and I don't know too much about it. So do you know more about insurance?
Insurance, I mean, it's like anything. You're kind of paying for something that may or may not happen. So, that's always in consideration. But I believe you should have some type of insurance. But the best insurance is buying a hardware wallet, as I said last time, having it offline. Of course, your brother, your sister, or your parents can steal it. But if you have a Trezor or something like that, they're going to have to know the code. If you know the recovery seed, that's what I think is the best insurance from not being robbed, because you have your all the data. You can have it transferred from Coinbase, and they would delete it from their database, which is a godsend, because a lot of exchanges don't do that.
Really? Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, though. So let's say you're just really worried about getting, you've got, for example, let's take this as an example. I have an external hard drive here right now. It's not a Trezor or whatever, but let's just use this as an example. Let's say someone doesn't want to buy a Trezor for some reason, or one of the special cryptocurrency ones. Then I could put a wallet on my external hard drive. But what happens if my external hard drive breaks?
If it breaks, you have the recovery seed, which is a 24 or whatever, how many letters or numbers you decide to make it into.
I see.
Basically a password. And then you make that, and basically you just type it in on the website. Even if the website goes down, say that the website gets bankrupt or something.
What is the website?
There's hundreds of them. I can't name them all.
So these are all different wallets?
Yeah. You could just dump it into a wallet, and then you could cash out or whatever, sell them or trade them or whatever you do. I'm not sure. A lot of people use it for different things.
But how about so you're saying there's loads of, I'm playing devil's advocate, so there's loads of different wallet providers, right? You select a random one, it might be called the best one ever. What happens if that wallet provider gets hacked and it just is no more? It's not a thing anymore.
Well, there's no insurance for that. I mean, let's talk about if you talk about let's talk about the 2013 crash, because this is an amazing example. Is when Mt. Gox, it was in Japan. It was the biggest exchange. It was bigger than, I think it's still considered bigger than Coinbase, but at one point it was the premier exchange in the world. Okay. It got hacked. I think it got hacked for 800,000 Bitcoin. Oh. Which I think is like 60 billion. I don't know how much of that is, but in today's money, or back then it was like 1.2 billion.
Well, today you'd be absolutely laughing.
Yeah, it's probably 60 something billion. But the question is all these exchanges can be hacked just like a bank, but you want insurance, but the only way to get insured, federally insured, is to have the government say, this is a currency now. This is going to be a part of our economy. I don't see that happening for a lot of countries. I mean, I see smaller countries and third world countries going towards this because their money is not worth anything. Not worth what it is. I mean, if you read the book, the first chapter at least, you kind of can have an idea of like in Afghanistan, there was this, I forget her name, but she was like this lady, or she was this blogger, and they were paying her in Bitcoin, and they were giving her money and everything.
Because beforehand, hey, I know about this. I read it beforehand in the place where she lived. What was it, like Venezuela or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. She basically had to give all of her money to her dad or her brother. But now, thanks to Bitcoin, she could have tons of Bitcoin and then buy stuff online, because they created a special website where you can buy in Bitcoin for the people who were these bloggers who were getting paid in Bitcoin. And she bought a laptop.
Yeah. See, so you can do it that way, like, you know, because I mean, of course,
I hijacked your story.
Yeah.
Are you proud of me? Are you proud?
No, I'm proud. Tested your knowledge, but like you know, a lot of countries like that, you know, the men have control of the banks and the all that stuff, so they're in control of people's money instead of a person being in control of their money. So that's a great place where it could thrive in, where it's like, oh my gosh, you just kind of change the culture. Like the culture doesn't really matter, and that government issues don't matter. But it's still not backed by the government. If it's not backed by the government, there's no worth. There's no way to exchange it for actual goods and services. I mean, you can still exchange. Like there's ways to do it. It's not an issue. You can like she bought gift cards to Amazon and all these other places. But like, you know, what if you don't want a gift card? What if you just want to have it in a bank now? Like, what if you just want to have a crypto bank or something? I don't know. There's so many things that could happen. But back to the hacking, it's going to happen. I mean, South Korea, one of their exchanges just got hacked. It's going to happen. Do I think it's going to happen to one of the biggest ones? I don't know. Like Coinbase, probably. The question is not if, it's when.
But how about a wallet provider?
Every wallet provider is. I think Coinbase has the most kind of. You know, I know what they're doing. I know what's going on. They always inform you.
But how about every wallet provider for wallets which are on your Trezor or your hard drive?
Yeah, your wallet is that is a physical wallet.
Yeah.
So there's no wallet online. So it's a physical wallet. So if someone steals, it's like someone jacking your wallet.
Okay, so you could get insurance on your physical wallet.
You don't need insurance because it's insured by itself. The question is how do you do it with exchanges? I mean, do you have governments back it and say, hey, all right, we're federally insured now. It's going to be federally insured. So if you lose X amount, you know, in the U.S. it's about $250,000 if you have it in the bank. They insured that, and you know, if you have it more than that, you lose all that money, it gets hacked or something. I've seen people that happens to football players a lot. I've seen stories about that where they put $6-7 million because they're making bank in a bank account, and it gets hacked, like Wells Fargo or something gets hacked. They lose 5.75 million, and then they never get that back because it's not federally insured. They're only federally insured to a certain point, just like anything. But with exchanges, how do you make that happen? Do you make people pay like a nominal fee of $40-$30 a month? Like, how are you going to do this? And do you have the resources? Does the exchange have the resources to give you that amount of money? I don't think no exchange has that. No. Maybe Coinbase is probably the only one because they make, you know, with all the fees they charge you, with all the things, they have the money to
They have taken a pretty penny from me, I tell you that. Like, Christ, I mean, they're making bank, as you said.
I'm telling you, they're banking because
Seriously.
how much they charge in fees? Like, they're not just paying
disgusting.
Their employees. They're not just they're paying all their employees pretty good and everything. They're paying their CEO pretty good and everything in a bank, but they have a lot of money for like innovation, a lot of technology changes, a lot more people they can hire, a lot more, like they have so much money that like, I don't know, they might outgrow Amazon at some point.
Madness, absolute madness. I do actually have another question for you really quickly while we're still talking about the wallets. So my question was, if you have it on your Trezor and then you go to enter the recovery code thing, but it turns out the company who like you bought it from, like, is it the wallet, like the company who you downloaded the wallet off onto your external hard drive, what happens if that company like goes out of and it's no longer a thing?
Oh yeah, that is totally fine. You just go to a different one, or you can go to an exchange.
Oh, like fine. Okay,
an exchange would take them.
Right, well, that's made me feel a lot more at ease because I was just a bit uncertain about that, and I'm sure potentially some other people who are listening might have just been a bit unsure.
Yeah, that's happened like a few times. Okay, so a lot of people had that issue, and they were like, but they just don't know where to go. Like they're like, oh, so I could go to this other place. Just type in on Google, I have a recovery seed, like so many, you could get so much information off the internet. Yeah. Reddit's my favorite place for crypto space. I mean, I just hear people bickering online. Like it's great. And you get information like, where can I go to get this? How do I start a wallet? YouTube has a lot of good information. You just like figure it out. And the best part is that they show you on like YouTube, they show you where to go. Cause it's kind of complicated. Like what website do I go to? Am I on the right one? Like I don't know where I'm doing. So YouTube's always great. Of course, with the crypto space, don't be looking at some YouTube video from 3 years ago. Okay. That is the worst idea you can do. Look at something that's a year, 6 months, anything between there, because it's a lot more recent. A lot of things happen.
Even the past, I'd say, month. Seriously. The past month has been absolutely mental for cryptos. We're talking right at the end of December 2017 for anyone who's listening long into the future. But yeah, I mean, God knows what it's going to be like by then. If people are listening to this in years to come, right? That's
Yeah, it's
such
crazy.
An interesting thought. All right, so we spoke a lot about governments there. So basically what really needs to happen is governments need to all come together and recognize it as a currency. Well, recognize them all as real currency.
That is the one point. The other one is trust. The other one is trust. It's trust of the people. Trust of you, me, these other people. It doesn't, the government, if the government acts, that it'll make it much easier for that to happen. But I believe, and I think a lot of people think that it will happen without the government's approval. When people decide, my dollar, my pound is depreciating, and you can tell it's depreciating. Like say you buy, I don't know, say you go to buy some Reese's peanut butter cups, right? This is a great example. So, they're 1 pound or something. Let's just keep it at that. But two small Reese's, well, to me they're small, but like the two small.
Yeah, now they're a pound over here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So they're a pound, right? Let's say in 3-4 years they're a pound and a half, right? So you're gonna be like, well, why is this happening? It is inflation at first, but what is it also? It's also my pound going down.
Yeah, so depreciation of the
pound. The depreciation of the pound.
Shall I tell you something that I always remember just from economics, just from school? Strong pound imports cheap, exports dear. Economics lesson for everyone. You'll remember it for life.
Yeah. It's just gonna happen that way because it's like our monies are pound or US dollars. Not volatile. It's not stable either. Like people think it's stable, but it's losing. Over the past, I think, say 50 years ago, like you could go to a movie theater and pay £0.50 or something to watch a movie. Why has that gone down? Is that just inflation? Highly doubt it.
Yeah, actually, this brings me on to something. Sorry, I've just thought of it suddenly. Anyone who does any sort of social media for a business will know how hard it is to stand out. In social media these days, it is so incredibly crowded and customers are just so sick of seeing ads, and it's super expensive to hire designers and marketing people to help you out with all this stuff. And regular listeners of the Business Meets Fitness podcast will know that I have been working with a company called Ripple, and what it is an app which is available on iOS and Google Play, and it allows you to create professional looking ads with over 200 design templates that they have, that you can essentially put whatever the hell you want on there, and you can automatically share them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shebang. It also gives you personalized recommendations and goal tracking tools. So if it sounds good to you and you're interested, head to ripple.com/BMF, and it's also in the description box for this podcast so that you can click it directly and go straight to the web address. So that is going to be a 7-day free trial, and I hope you enjoy the rest of today's podcast. So obviously, for example, Bitcoin is finite, yeah. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know, did we talk about it last time, the forking? Because, oh yeah, we touched on it briefly. But essentially, because the thing is, obviously it's finite. Bitcoin is finite. That's a very well-known thing. But essentially when, for example, what happened was Bitcoin Cash forked off. Now, pretty much, obviously there's two and they're totally separate and everything, but can it just do this as many times as it wants? Because that's essentially making it infinite, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's a computer science problem. That's a developer problem. These people don't understand what's going. Like a lot of people think they understand. They understand. We as computer scientists, and I love coding. I love programming. I love all that stuff. But as us, we think we know a lot more than we actually do. Like I take any algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, the Twitter algorithm, all these algorithms, we're not in, as developers, they are not in control of these algorithms. They just let it out. It's just like saying, oh, let's see what happens, and we can't control them. So, a lot of people want certain things to happen to Instagram. I'm like, well, that thing ain't going to happen because A, B, C, D for the developer. You got to see the back end of what these people are dealing with. And the algorithm's out of control. There's a lot of things you can't change. I mean, Twitter could change certain things. I'm like, whoa, that's easy to change. There's not much to do, How about us deleting tweets? Or if we have to delete a whole tweet. You can't edit a tweet. At least put edited on it or something like that. Or give you 60 seconds before it can disappear and you can never change it again. But, all these algorithms are out of control. So that's kind of how it is with the developing something. You never know what's going to happen to it. I don't know what's going to happen if this doesn't work or if that doesn't work. We just try to make it you're just trying to make it function. You're just trying to make it work. You don't care about how beautiful or how wonderful it's going to be, or if it breaks, what would happen. So that's just how it is. It's not an issue. There's a lot of forking was one of the things, and it was there. I explained it to Lauren in text. So there's accidental forking and there's hard forking. What Bitcoin Cash is a hard fork. An accidental fork can be kind of go back into the blockchain and just make it one blockchain, but it's an accidental. It just happens on accident. Hard fork is just you just didn't pay attention. That's when you create a new currency. You weren't paying attention, or you couldn't solve the problem. Those are the two ways that happen. So Bitcoin Cash is the hard fork of what happened. It created two blockchains because it broke off. And which blockchain do you want to follow? Oh, that's up to you. I mean, okay. So it's the same thing as Bitcoin, just named a different thing. It has the exact same rules as Bitcoin and everything. And of course, I told everyone last time, if you certain dates and certain times, if you had Bitcoin in 2016 or, up to, I think, August 1st or something, then you have Bitcoin Cash. So it's interesting to see who and what will happen with that. I'm not sure if Bitcoin Cash will survive the onslaught. A lot of cryptocurrencies, I think, are going to die or get slaughtered in the next 5 years because right now I wouldn't say it's oversaturated yet. I mean, that doesn't happen until you hit thousands and thousands of coins, but it's growing and growing like a fungus. And when are you going to try to get rid of most of the fungus at the end. You want to, like, people think all these coins are going to survive. I don't think all these coins are going to survive. I think a small amount, maybe 10 or 15 at most, or government coins, I think will survive because they have the backing of governments and all that stuff. But there's so much to cryptocurrencies. We're guessing. This is all a guess. Like, we're just kind of figuring this out as it goes. There's many predictions. I'm like, well, guy might be right. That guy might be right.
Yeah.
Might be off. But yeah, it's all happening so fast. It does remind me of the internet somehow. Where it just kind of flooded the gates and nobody knew what was going on until the dust settles. And is it exactly like the internet? I have no idea. I think there's key differences. The differences are, this is a monetary change. This is not like a revolutionary change like that. It is a revolutionary change for monetary system, but that the monetary system will affect everything. So it's more revolutionary than the internet in some ways. The internet's part of it, so we can see what will happen.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, it's like I was saying to you about the valuation ever going to zero of, for example, of Bitcoin, or of, well, if the valuation just goes to zero of another cryptocurrency, then, well, what happens? It just doesn't keep going anymore? Or do you reckon they try and keep innovating to keep going? I mean, that was something that cropped up in my mind. I just...
Yeah. I think ever hitting zero is one of the most least likely scenarios. I don't know what percentage you would put, but it's just not very likely. I think in the early stages, I would say yes. If it was 2013 or 2014, I would say yes. It's not in the early stages. It's in the, like, kind of the infancy. Like, it's growing up. It's like a 4-year-old right now. Like he's in kindergarten. He's figuring stuff out. He's trying to learn his colors. He's trying to figure all this out. So it's growing and growing and growing and growing. So it will will it ever hit zero? I don't think so. I think you'll see kind of a roller coaster and a roller coaster. And then at some point it's going to stabilize. And then at that point it's going to drop, and then it's going to stabilize, and then it's going to stay somewhere in between the highest point and the lowest point. It's going to be somewhere in between. Do I know the exact number? No. Some people say it will stabilize at 5. The high will be 1 million. The stabilization will be at 800,000. I have no idea what that is. That seems crazy to me. That means there's trillions and trillions of GDP per country. Like, it would swallow the whole damn economy. I don't know if that would happen, but if it does hit even 500 and it's worth 100,000, we're in the early stages still. I mean, like, it's not. We're seeing the issues happening, how people react to it, and what's going to happen. And, a lot of people have influence. Like, if you have 1 million followers or something, and you say Bitcoin is trash, you affect the economy of Bitcoin. People don't understand. Like, if you have real power like that, like people kind of taking your idea and running with it, like that has so much implications to what will happen.
For sure.
If Bill Gates came out and said, well, he doesn't denounce, he's like, this is awesome. But if Bill Gates came out and said, this is the worst thing that could ever happen, this isn't going to work, this is garbage. All the people that are under him, all the people that, like, watch him and understand, like, love him and everything, and, kind of take his advice for the word, they're going to do what he says, not what this other person says. So you can have an issue with that. I mean, Warren Buffett's also one of those people that dislikes Bitcoin. Well, he doesn't dislike it. He doesn't see it working. So,
and he doesn't like to invest in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see someone like that, that's a kind of a giant and that have succeeded year after year after year after year, you kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to follow Warren Buffett. Why follow smaller people that have no idea what they're talking about? That's what you would say. But what I always say is, well, even kings can make mistakes. So they may be kings in the game, but even kings can make mistakes. And I think this is a perfect example of when a king makes a mistake about something they're not really interested in. I mean, if you ask Warren Buffett, well, how does Bitcoin work? Why? I guarantee you he doesn't have an answer to those questions because he doesn't want to explore it. Maybe he does.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't.
that's what I heard him say. I heard him say, I was listening to a podcast where he was like, at this stage, I don't really care to explore the whole blockchain mystery or something. I can't remember his exact words, but he was like, it may have potential. I don't know, but he was just kind of saying that he didn't know too much about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how can you make a decision like that? I mean, it's like just guessing. He is guessing. Like, he's not a guessing man. Usually he's very educated and understands what's going on. But for some reason he decided, well, I'm not interested in this. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe he will be interested and he'll back it up later on, but he's not interested. So I taking his word as like as because he's one of those kings in the financial industry that can change people's minds. If he decided to change, hey, I'm investing, $500 million in Bitcoin or this and that, or I'm going to start putting money in Bitcoin or creating his own startup, he would create a flood. The floodgates would open, but he's not interested. So, and he doesn't know what the blockchain system is. So if someone could kind of show that to him and explain everything to him, and maybe he might be interested at some point.
For sure.
Right now he's not.
Yes,
and I don't think you should be taking advice or even thinking, taking advice from someone who doesn't understand the system, didn't explore it. I mean, if he's told me, he explained the blockchain to me and he said, hey, I don't think this is going to work, I'm totally understanding of that. Like, okay, great. Well, it was wonderful talking to you about this. I mean, like, there's no issue with that. I have a problem when you don't want to learn it. Like, if you a lot of crypto experts, I always go back to, they understand, they know the basics, they know a little bit, and we talk about the blockchain. They don't want to learn certain aspects or learn about other coins. I'm like, you're limiting your information to like very small niche. But if you want to learn everything, I mean, there's like Andreas Antonopoulos. That guy is a freaking wizard. He has like some of the greatest information out there. So he knows like a lot, and he's written like 6-7 crypto books. So he can explain in detail the stuff that I try to get into. The problem with that is like, where do you start? And I think he has that issue too, but everybody has that issue, but he knows a lot. So it's like figuring that out. And I think, I don't know, me and Lauren are barely going to delve into that stuff because I don't want her her mind to explode again. Like, it's like really hard for me to like say, hey, this is, explaining the details to the details is really hard. And I don't want to.
You spoon feed it to me every day. You help me with a new small little thing every day. So like, for example, for people who want to learn, a great thing to do is every day listen to another podcast on it or watch another YouTube video, just doing small bits and bobs like that, because otherwise you just don't remember it all. And it's seriously like, you just want to keep reading or keep watching and keep learning more because it's so bloody interesting. But just doing one or two a day, I think that's probably the best way to go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's too much and you don't know where to start and you kind of like lost. It's because there's no like way of learning it like fluidly. Like, I don't know what the curriculum for cryptocurrency would be.
Exactly. There's just so much. And I think for sure, like, people need to use more than one different resource. They need to be using different people rather than solely trusting one person, because one person's thoughts can really swing you in order to invest a certain way. Brandon doesn't actually do that to me. He keeps neutral and is always like, do your own research, and that's very important.
Because a lot of people think, oh, I know what's going on. I'm like, whoo, are you crazy? Like, I look at them like, hey, you don't know what's going on. Neither do I. Like, when you were a kid and you kind of like thought you knew the question to every question. Well, this is how I was. I thought, I'll raise my hand. I know that. And then everyone would raise their hand and I'll be like, oh, dude, I don't know that. I'm just kind of like flexing, saying I do. And then the teacher would pick on me, and I'd be like, oh, damn it, I don't know what 3 + 3 is or whatever it was. And I was like, man, I'd go up to the person next to me and be like, do you know what this is? And they'll be like, no, I don't. Why'd you raise your hand? And you'd be like, well, I raised it because I thought I did. Or whatever.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. And by the way, breaking news, Bitcoin just went under 10,000 in the UK. 10,000 GBP. I know.
Wow, the apocalypse is coming.
It's the end of the world and Bitcoin is coming to an end. But in all seriousness, I do have some more topics because obviously there's a lot of speculation, but there are some things which are set in stone. For example, this fun fact that I learned this morning and that we touched upon briefly before we started recording, but it was about the transactions per second. And somewhere like PayPal, I don't know how many transactions per second PayPal can take, but let's just say it's like, I don't know, 1,100 or something. Well, Bitcoin can only take 7 transactions per second, which just absolutely blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is another, like, there's so many, like, there's big issues and small issues. That's a big issue. The volatility is a big issue. Like, there's a few issues that need to get, but that can be fixed. Like, there's not.
Okay, so that was my question. I was going to ask, can they fix that?
Yeah. They could, like, it's like anything. Like, you start off small. It's like building anything. It's like, okay, well, we can only use 7 now. Well, how do we increase it to 10? Yeah. How do we increase it to 1,000? I mean, think about PayPal. PayPal did not start off making 1,000 transactions as fast as possible. They had the infrastructure. Now they have the infrastructure because, they've been around for a long time. So they have built to that 1,000 transactions.
For sure.
So they can handle all that. Bitcoin cannot handle that right now. It's about 7. I heard they're going to go up to like 100 soon, or, they're having technology that is coming out that would increase that. And that's a lot of software and kind of coding and a lot of that to be able to make that 1,000 transactions. And that will happen, or 100 transactions. And once that increases, people will have a little more faith in like buying and selling, and because it would be a lot quicker.
For sure. But may that be at this stage when they add new software, do all the coding and stuff, is that the type of situation where there's a potential for another hard fork?
No, there would not be. Oh, the hard fork, there's always potential for a hard fork, but I don't think Bitcoin's already come through that one. Sure. It'll be a long time before another fork happens. And I'm more worried about like net neutrality affecting Bitcoin. I'm more worried about like governments affecting Bitcoin. I'm more worried about outside forces affecting Bitcoin because.
Talk to me about net neutrality affecting Bitcoin.
Well, for us in the US, so y'all in the UK don't have to worry as much, but it might affect your business.
I'm so interested by it because I do think it's going to affect me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you have business in the US, ISPs, which are internet service providers, are gonna have a lot more power because of the FCC's vote to get rid of net neutrality. Net neutrality was just basically open internet, just as simple as I can explain it. Have an open internet, be able to go on whatever site you wanted to, as long as you had internet. But with net neutrality gone, it gives a lot of power to ISPs. Your service provider, whether it's AT&T in the US or Verizon or all these other ones or smaller ones.
So, for example, in the UK, something like that could be O2 or 3 or Orange, all these ones.
Yeah, so it would give them the power to charge you for services. Like, in order to get to the certain site, you need to pay our package fee of $5.99. So, you need to pay $5.99 to use social media. I don't know what the number would be. There's a lot of speculation. Some people have like, it's $17.99 like to get that package. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. I doubt they'll do that. Maybe $1 or something, a couple dollars. But they would charge you to use social media, certain sites. They would have a fast lane and a slow lane. It just depends. It's interesting to see what will happen. You have to get educated more on net neutrality. The other side of it is like it'll create competition, but there is no competition, and especially in smaller towns and smaller cities. There's no competition. So I doubt it will work. But it's a big issue, and the way it will affect the crypto space is, what if they decide to block exchanges? You can't get on an exchange, or you have to pay us to get on an exchange. So that will create a lot of issues. People will be mad. There'll be, and you can't do anything. You can't complain. You can complain to the Verizon or whatever your provider is, but they have the authority to do that. They have the legal rights to do it to you, to say, hey, I'm gonna block all these exchanges. They're not real currencies, blah, blah, blah. They don't want that problem. That problem's possibly gonna happen. There's a lot of other ways. Exchange is blocked. That means you don't have access to your Bitcoin, or you can't sell. And that would just create a huge it would make it into a real bubble where it would just explode in your face because someone is squeezing it. Someone is trying to pop it. I always say, everything's a bubble. So the auto industry, the housing market, the blah, blah, blah. And everybody always asks me like, oh, how do you know all this? Well, some credentials here, I guess. I am a finance student. So there is like aspects of that I involve in crypto space, but a lot of people don't understand the crypto space in finance, which I'm like, man, if you look at this is like the future. We know it's the future. We just don't know what's going to happen. If it's going to happen, there's a lot of questions of like, will it happen? Will it not? When? All these other questions. But everything's a bubble. The auto industry was going to explode. The housing market crashed here. Our economy's crashed multiple times. Like it's not a question if it's a bubble or a balloon or whatever you want to call it. A lot of people say balloon. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way of thinking about it.
We tend to say bubble over here, and everyone's saying it about the housing market in London. Everything's going to explode at some point. The question is like, how bad does it explode? Does it just deflate? Is it just a dip? Is it going to ever stabilize? It's going to happen. It's not a question of this. It's when. So the same thing with crypto and anything like that. But if someone forces and strangles the life out of crypto, like governments just strangling it, saying it's not going to happen, or exchanges being blocked and all that, you could destroy cryptocurrency that way. That's one of the realistic ways that it can happen. I guess before that, like what really needs to happen is that the US government recognizes it as a legit currency, really.
I mean, they have regulations, which was like, what? You're going to put regulations on something that's not real?
Yeah.
Well, because it might be something that is real one day. When I mean real, it's like you can exchange it for anything. Like you would be using it in your day-to-day life. Like you go to Chipotle or wherever you go to get your burrito or something, and you'd be like, I want burrito, and you pay a certain amount of Bitcoin and they get your money, blah, blah, blah. That is how it is. So we'll see what happens, but it's a little too early, and it's too hard to see in the fog of war. It's very foggy right now. Like there's a lot of fog blocking what may happen. Like I can barely see 6 months from now. Like I see it increasing and decreasing, increasing, decreasing. But like, what's going to happen after that? Is there going to be regulations? I don't know what's going on in the governments and what they're deciding. Are they going to make their own cryptos and blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be so interesting. And it's going to be especially interesting in the space that we were touching on earlier. It's kind of like the decentralization of every single industry. So it's the fact that, cryptocurrency is essentially can be used by any industry.
Yeah. So the blockchain is what I guess we are going to use, because the technology, the blockchain, as we call it, people don't realize like, oh yeah, I can decentralize banks. Yeah, that's one aspect. It can decentralize anything, actually. It could decentralize Amazon. I mean, imagine, the problem is it's like anything. Like you want self-driving cars, just like Elon Musk is kind of going towards. You want these self-driving cars that, self-drive themselves. What happens? Well, the trucking industry gets hit. Of course, he's like, well, I'm going to embrace that industry as well. So he made a semi-truck for them to purchase. But what if he decides, one day self-driving cars, complete self-driving cars. So if that happens, all those truckers are out of business because all those companies are just going to use self-driving trucks. Computers are much more efficient. Robots work better in certain tasks like that. So, that's what's going to happen to the kind of crypto space. It's going to be you could decentralize anything pretty much. So you would decentralize Amazon. So a lot of accountants, a lot of people in the middle management, anything that's in the middle, wiped away. Mm-hmm. So you can wipe it. Like people always think oh, you always need a middleman. No, you don't. You need the person that's going to give you the stuff and the person receiving. The peer-to-peer system works for anything. The question is, do you want that to happen? What's going to happen with that? Well, you're going to have a lot of people losing jobs, losing a lot of things. But you're going to also have, I always hear this argument. I don't know if it's true, but a lot of people can, it's going to create a lot of technology jobs. Yeah, it is. But how many people are ready for those technology jobs? Mm-hmm. There's hundreds of thousands of coding jobs that are not filled. And then just think about how many people are bad at coding. And, you don't have not a lot of people have the education to learn to code or develop stuff. So it will create a lot of jobs, but it's going to be 2 or 3 people doing two or three jobs at the same time, working insane hours, to keep this kind of boat floating. So I don't think that would happen, at least not right away. Of course, everything's a slow, arduous process. I'm it's like watching paint dry. It just takes forever.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting as well when it comes to things like loans, because well, what the hell? That will still be happening. I guess loans from banks and stuff. Mm-hmm. But
well, what happens when I decentralize the bank? Of course, that's what cryptocurrency would do. And I decentralize the company. So instead of, it's going to be from company to person. It's not going to be, there's no middleman like a bank. So you're not going to say, well, I'm a company that's loans people money. Well, I don't have to talk to the bank, blah, blah, blah. And I talk to the people. It's just a one-way street. It's
Mm-hmm.
And that works. But the problem is people like having control over things.
Yeah.
It's just how we are as human beings. It's I want control over this whole thing. I want the ship, me to drive this ship, it's you're trying to control everything and it's not going to work the way you think. And what happens when the control is lost and it's just given to you as a person, individual to individual? It has so many implications. I don't even know what would happen, but it would be a lot better than we have it now. That's the only thing I know. How much better? I don't know. It's interesting. And
it's so interesting, but we could speculate all day. We could literally speculate all day. I guess there's one more thing, which is pretty, well, it's not necessarily, it's not really speculation, but it's just investing between coins, because I guess a lot of people think that you just have to buy with your USD, you have to buy your Bitcoin, but once you've got Bitcoin, then, well, you pretty much need Bitcoin to actually be able to buy some of the other cryptocurrencies at the moment.
Yeah. So that's called the crypto for crypto. Well, US dollar for a euro or a pound. It's kind of like that because they're more connected than them connected to other things. But so say you have Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is easy to get, Litecoin is easy to get, Ethereum is easy to get, and Bitcoin Cash is easy to get. And why are they easy to get? Well, because they're on Coinbase, of course. So so if you buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, you can transfer it for other coins like Ripple or something else, whatever takes it. If it doesn't take that, it probably takes Ethereum. If it doesn't take it, all those 4 major coins can be transferred to a different altcoin. And you're taking that is a big risk because these coins, most of them are not going to survive. It's the truth. It's survival of the fittest when it comes to crypto coins. So which one will survive? You kind of got to look at the technology. This is how I say do your research. Technology. What do they offer that no other altcoin offers? Is it better infrastructure? Is it better this or that? Is it that they have a new thing that, if they have 1,000 transactions per second that they can do, or 1,000,000 transactions or something ridiculous like that? Is that's a plus? You got to add these up together. So you got to do that.
Know the negatives of them as well, and also the negatives of the others.
So yeah, that's my second thing. What's the bad things about it? So if it's what is the bad thing? Oh, it's so small that nobody knows about it. Oh, that's a bad thing. If people don't trust it or understand it, can you exchange it for other coins as well? I mean, like, there's all these other things that you got to look at before you even think about which coin you're going to get. And I thought about these before. If you can mine them, of course, I just say, it doesn't matter what coin it is, mine it. It's going to be worth something eventually. And if it's not, well, you mined it. You wasted a ton of energy, but a ton of time, but you still, at least you did it. Like, it's a lot cheaper to mine than for a lot of different coins, like altcoins, but Bitcoin, man, don't do it. I don't know why people are still doing it. Like, someone just messaged me one time and said, hey, or emailed me and said, oh yeah, I'm mining Bitcoin right now. I'm like, what? Why are you mining Bitcoin? Like, I had to explain to him, like, hey, this is not, like, this doesn't work. It's not going to work. It's like, what? I'm mining right now. I'm like, you're mining nothing. You're mining grovel. It's like, you're not doing anything. You're not going to break a block in, like, probably a year, like with what you got. But I always say altcoins are great to mine because they're in the beginning stages. Some of them you can't mine. Some of them have different rules. Blah blah blah. Of course, that's the third thing. Rules. What rules does it have? Is it finite? Maybe you don't want a currency that's finite. Maybe you want a currency that's infinite. It all depends on your preferences. And of course, last one is preferences. What do you prefer to have? I mean, honestly, I do it based off the name sometimes. Like, it has a stupid, I'm not going to lie, because a lot of things that succeed have good names. Amazon, that's a great name. I never thought about that name. It's just like these names, like your company, Jim Cred. That is a good name. If it has a bad name, then it's like, well, I don't want to be a part of something that has a bad name,
Yeah. Have you got Jim Cred? That's the question.
Oh yeah, of course. But, yeah, but Jim Craig is .com. I always forget how y'all do it over there.
Yeah, we did .com, not .co.uk. It's a worldwide site, but that's the thing. Like, for example, Jim Cred would be affected with that net neutrality thing. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic, though. I mean, we could talk about that, but I don't know too much. I have to do more research first.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it would affect you because, well, it just depends on what the ISPs use. If they,
and also a lot of people buy. Well, yeah, exactly. It depends if they like charge for it, but a lot of customers in the States.
Yeah. So Jim Cred, a great name. So if something has a bad name, like digit. I remember I saw this one once. Someone explained this to me. It's called digit money. Digit. Like, I was like, wait. And there's digit cash and digit money, but it was like a play on words, like digit.
Oh, it sounded like the song.
So names do matter to me, at least, and a lot of people, because if sounds something like really fake, like not real, like if it's something stupid, people are not going to be like, if I can't say the name of it, I'm not going to buy it. If it's some foreign thing, like a lot of foreign companies make their own names. I'm like, well, I can't read what that says. English language is the greatest language, I guess. Well, not the greatest, but like it's such a wide, worldwide business language that if you're not using that for business, people are not going to invest in some South Korean company that has a weird name, or something like that. Like Mount Gox was one of those. Like, that is a badass exchange because it's Mount Gox. Sounds like a mountain, right?
Yeah. It sounds really like prestigious.
Yeah. It's like anything. If you can create a company, you want a good name. If you can create this or that. So the same thing with cryptocurrencies. A lot of them have weird name, like Zcash, like oh, that's pretty cool. Like, for me, that was like, oh, well, Vertcoin, that sounds awesome. Like, these names actually do matter.
I love Neo, just the name Neo.
Yeah. Something you can say short and sweet. I don't know what it is about that. Bitcoin's also like one of those, like,
and Ripple.
So these names do matter. It's like it's like you picking your Instagram name. It's like, well, this is what you're going to be called for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh, yeah, but then I changed mine, and there's been massive controversy.
Yeah, because people know you as that person. They're like, what? Who's this Lauren Tickner? I've never heard of this. Last subscribed, I follow Lauren Fitness.
Exactly.
And they go looking for Lauren Fitness, and they're like, well, is this Lauren Fitness? I guess this is.
Lauren Fitness is alas no longer. But yeah, I mean, it's just all too interesting for words. And I think we've covered a nice chunk of stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Prepare for part 3.
Yeah, part 3. It's not even going to be a trilogy. There's going to be more, let's be real. But I'm excited to see what questions we get. So guys who are listening, please do make sure. I kind of forgot the podcast was even going on because we were just chatting so much. But people who are listening, we need these questions. Come on, get us. Get Brandon. Get Brandon so in depth that he doesn't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, well, because I tread lightly when it comes to this. Because
for sure.
I don't know what, if you're listening, I don't know what you know and don't know and what you've heard and what you have not heard. Like,
it'd be good to hear some of the stuff that they've heard that they're a bit unsure about that could be a misconception. We could do like a myth busting or something.
Yeah, myth busting. There's a lot of myth busting that can be done because, I mean, a lot of people, it's just kind of chatter. It's like, oh, have you heard of Bitcoin? Yeah, I read it on the news or blah, blah, blah. Like, people get it from all different sources. It's kind of
word of mouth for sure.
Word of mouth for sure. Like from person to person, that they can be the worst or it can be the best. Like so true. like some people talk to me. I'm like, well, I know a lot about Bitcoin. Or I know a lot about cryptocurrencies. How much do you know? Like it's just me trying to figure out what you know and what I know, and if it clicks and if it doesn't click. Like sometimes I have misconceptions and someone explains it to me and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm always the problem with me is I'm always slightly off, like just a smidgen. And that can be an issue. But I would love to hear the questions and I'll give you some answers. And if we don't know, we can explore it together.
Yeah, I like it. We can Google it and all that shebang because Google is your best pal. But yeah, if you're still confused, then hit us. Hit Brandon. It's not really. I mean, I'm learning. I'm learning.
Hit Lauren up for your basic questions.
Yeah. Exactly. Awesome. Well, for everyone who's listening, thank you very much. Just check out, as I said, the show notes / description box, whatever you call it, for this podcast, and you'll see all Brandon's info there. So that's the end of that. If you have liked it, remember to share, get your questions in. Tag me if you share it on your Insta story because I always reply. So thank you guys, and I will see you in the next episode.
Bye.